Hello, and welcome to another episode of Boundless Body Radio. I'm your host, Casey Ruff, and today we have another amazing guest to reintroduce to you now. Tia Reid, a metabolic health practitioner, is a former guest on our show. Be sure to check out her first appearance on episode 444 of Boundless Body Radio. As a certified health coach practitioner, Tia is passionate to guide others on their journey towards wellness. She specializes in helping clients focus on low carb, healthy fat nutrition to heal their bodies, especially those that have prediabetes, NAFLD, or battle with weight and carbohydrate and food addiction. Her goal is to encourage, guide, and help clients sustain metabolic health by eating real whole foods while helping them with long-lasting behavior change for sustainable weight management. Tia is enthusiastic to offer her clients low-carb nutrition as a nutrition network coach practitioner accredited by the Society of Metabolic Practitioners and as a certified and licensed sugar professional through Bit& Johnson. She currently works on Dr. Tro's medical weight loss practice, which provides individual medical care using evidence-based dietary approaches, an app-based community of support, and a compassionate healthcare team who have themselves maintained massive weight loss. Tia Reid, what an absolute honor it is to welcome you back to Boundless Body Radio.
Thanks, Casey. I've been really excited for us to meet today. Thanks for having me back.
I have as well. We mentioned we hosted you before on episode 444. We got tons of complaints about that episode. Everybody said you weren't chipper enough. You weren't very optimistic. You weren't very happy. It sounded like you were down in the dumps. That's absolutely not true. You're one of the happiest people I've ever met in my life.
Thanks. Hey, if you try to be happy, it just kind of like it fills your cup a little bit, doesn't it?
It sure does. Yeah, it sure does. The thing I left out of the introduction, you've actually appeared on two of our episodes. And the first one, if you recall, was at Low Carb Denver, where you and I sat down to have just a short, like 15-minute chat. It was the first time that I met you. And even then, your energy was just so infectious. It's just so funny that like even in a low carbohydrate conference, there's still a ton of people there. And as much as you want to like meet everybody and take pictures with everybody, like it's impossible to get to know everybody. And to think that we could have just been two ships passing in the night and maybe would have never met each other had we not sat down and had that conversation, you know?
I know, and I'm so glad. I saw your hat, and I had been listening to your podcast already, so I'm like, I'm going to go meet him.
Oh, my goodness. That reminds me, you were the very first person. You're the first and only person. Well, not only, it's happened before, but you were the first person to go, hey, I want to take a picture with you. And I'm like, oh, man, I'm in the way of like Dr. Chafee. And I tried to duck out of the way. And you were like, no, hey, I want a picture with you.
What
like,
do?
Me? Why?
Yeah.
That's hilarious. This is going to be a really special episode. We are dropping this on January 1st, 2025. So as of the time of recording, it's before New Year's, but happy New Year's to you, Tia, on the day that this drops.
You too. Yeah.
And so I definitely wanted to talk about helping people set realistic expectations and goals around their fitness. I think a lot of people have gone through the journey of setting a New Year's resolution or some kind of goal or plan for January 1 and not been successful. And so I want to kind of help people understand like what this process is going to look like and have some tips and tricks along the way. So that's going to kind of be the topic of our discussion. I have to say that I reached out immediately after I heard you on the Off My Couch podcast with Maggie Stewart. Real quick, how much do you love Maggie Stewart? I mean, she is just absolutely amazing.
It's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love the episode with you guys talking as well.
It was so fun. And I just, for as many podcasts as I see come and go and people start things and stop things, she's just been plugging away and doing such great work. I recommend anybody go over and subscribe to the Off the Couch podcast. She does such a great job. She did a recent episode with you, which kind of sparked this whole idea where you guys were talking about getting through the holidays, which I thought was so wonderful. And you gave some great tips and tricks there. So right off the bat, kudos to her and kudos for you for a great episode. I recommend anybody go and watch that, and we'll tag that in the notes as well.
Great. Thanks, Casey.
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
absolutely.
let's get off to starting about, talking about how to start.
Let's do it.
Everybody gets off track. We're all human. Things happen. We just got to give ourselves some grace and know that every day is a new day to start again.
Yeah.
And again, I've talked about this before, respect and understand what you're up against, because it's really hard. It's not easy all the time. And dieting's not going to change, your childhood memories of grandma's favorite pie or, how society gets together. So after the holidays, it's really great to just hop right back on and get going.
Yeah.
And understand. it's, it's a lifelong journey. It's, it's not a diet for me anymore. I don't know how you feel about it. I'm more carnivore now than I ever was before, but it's a lifestyle.
Yeah.
I intend to do this the rest of my life. It's,
Yeah.
it's not a diet, but, um, and willpower is not going to magically show up in our most vulnerable moment. So we have to prepare for it when we're feeling good. So your time is now, right? You have
Yeah.
today.
Yeah. No, it's such a really good point. And maybe we could illustrate this with your own story. Obviously, somebody can go back to episode 444 if they want to listen to your whole story, but related to you and your health, you were in a really bad spot. I think we can be pretty frank and say that
Yeah.
you're not doing great. And you were able to stick with it. So first and foremost, for somebody who is thinking about they're wanting to transform their health, they're wanting to do something a little bit different, but they don't know, is it going to be worth it? Is the change, like you said, like grandma's, the thought of never eating grandma's pie or cookies again is like so daunting that I think a lot of people just decide like to give up before they even started. So I want you to reflect on your own journey and what were your motivations and what kept you going again when you say like willpower runs out, which absolutely it does for you. Why were you able to stick with it to get to the point to where you are now, where you have multiple certifications, you're helping people all over the world? Like what was it that made you decide to start, and also what made you decide to stick with it?
Well, first of all, for those of you that don't know me, I was really sick. I was about 250, 60 pounds and me toggled between there. I was on over 20 medications and insulin pump. I had type 2 diabetes, full-blown type 2 diabetes, non-alcoholic fatty liver, adrenal insufficiency. I had like a whole boatload of things wrong with me. It's incredible that I'm here today. But I do think it's, all from proper nutrition and just feeding myself the right foods, whole foods, nothing from a box, nothing from a bag, sticking to that as much as possible, and community support because I had a strong addiction and I still do. I still am an addict, so I have to be careful. And I have that fear factor in there. So I don't want to lose a leg or an arm or my vision. And I'm a new grandma now, so I have new, goals that I need to stay healthy for him and I need to show him uh how we should eat right, and that sugar really does kill. It's a chronic and progressive, and you could lose your limbs. So that's one of my whys. And I think it's really important to always have your why available through the whole time. Like give yourself a self-assessment when you're starting out this time, why do you want to lose weight? It doesn't have to be all about the weight. Metabolic health. Maybe you know your why, and your why could change at any minute. So know what food specifically you find tempting or have trouble restricting, and know what times of day you have a difficulty with, and any places that you regularly go off plan. Have this stuff ready so that you're ready to have your defenses in action. And then what situations have triggered you to overeat in the past? Or, there might be people, whether intentionally or not, like, your grandma's pie. They're not wanting to really derail you on purpose. They don't know, but so you have to come clean with them and let them know, hey, you're trying something new. Uh, you're trying to get your health back, or those foods make you feel bad. So, and if they love you, they don't want you to feel bad. So they're going to go along with you, you
Yeah.
know? And I
Yeah.
think prioritizing protein and fat is the most important thing. And that's what helped me. Um, I would make 2 and 3 and 4 times more protein and fat so that when I was hungry, or if a craving came up, the unexpected craving, I could grab that, because you don't know when you're not going to get enough sleep or your stress levels are going to be high, because your cravings are going to come slowly back, and you need to know how to protect yourself from yourself at all times with satiating foods, and know what foods drive you to eat more and get those out of your life. But
Yeah.
what do you think? Starting out, just clean your house in 2025. Hey, we're doing a challenge in the Towards Health app. So if anybody's out there and they want to sign up and join the Dr. Tro's community, we're doing a couple challenges. One's going to be Thrive in 25, and we're going to share our set goals, and we're going to post daily, like our CGM readings and maybe your ketone readings, whatever it may be that you like to share. And they're going to give away some free CGMs, which is kind of cool. And then Dr. Laura and Brian, Coach Brian, is actually going to do, you can register for a free intro to low carb challenge as well. So I just encourage anybody that's interested to sign up for the free challenges. And
That's awesome.
yeah, we're gonna address stuff like when you want to start out, go ahead and make all your areas safe, for your home, your car, your, wherever you work, everywhere. Make your purse, stock it all up with foods, whole foods, as much as possible. I like to stick to nothing from a box or a bag, but some people may need harm reduction items, which is for some people is okay, but for someone like myself, it's a slippery slope. So if you're wanting to really stick to it as much as possible, try to stick to meals and no snacking. And then I like to focus on hunger and satiety and prioritize the protein and fat. Eat as much as you need to till you're comfortably full, If a craving comes up, eat some more of that meat. Have some leftovers available. And don't worry about your meal timing. Just because it's noon doesn't mean you have to eat at noon. Did you find that starting, in this lifestyle, you just eat when you're hungry? It doesn't
Yeah,
have to
definitely.
be noon or 5 o'clock or whatever it is. And then meet yourself where you are, because everybody's different. Weight loss is kind of like a marathon, right? It's not like a sprint. Tiny, small, consistent steps is what works. And people sometimes get really aggravated if they haven't lost weight in the first couple weeks of starting, but you got to be patient and give yourself some love and know and trust the process, that there's healing going on the inside that you can't see yet on the outside. I guess choose your hard, really. That's what I did. I chose my hard. I'd rather uh eat a low carb meal and skip a treat and be able to walk down the lane and play with my kids, Uh I don't know. Success isn't always pretty and it's not always perfect.
Yeah.
That's why I think having a community and being consistent is key. It's kind of like a muscle, right? Consistency. You have to practice it daily and give yourself some self-love. If you do mess up, just get right back on the very next meal. Don't wait another day. And consider the consequences. That's what I did. I had to consider, I had a lot of metabolic health problems. So the consequences for me to go back that way of eating would be having all those diseases back that I didn't want. So I think along the way too, celebrating the non-scale victories, like the brain fog I didn't have. I had to ask myself before I would eat something, is that going to give me a migraine headache? And then I'm going to be in bed the whole rest of the night and not feel well. So I think willpower really is just having a plan in place, and knowing that in any kind of social situation that I need to prepare for it before and after, because the stress of some situations may make you have cravings, uncontrollable cravings for 2 and 3 days after. So making sure you have enough food prepped, safe foods, I call them, to make you feel better along the way. But
Yeah.
self-assessments are really important. And before you take a bite off plan, I like to name it. I see you craving. I see you. There you are. I'm just going to name it and notice what your mind wants to do. Your mind wants predictability to feel safe. So name your intention and what you want to do. How do you want that situation to look, really? So name it, and it kind of like makes you take a pause. How do you want to treat your body? Notice, notice it, and it gives you kind of like a pause before you act on it. I like the pause a lot. It
Yeah,
takes
that's great.
practice, and you got to be flexible, right? So maybe I want to eat before I go to an event, or um, maybe I'm going to bring my own meat, like a meat or deviled eggs or something like that before, when I go. I usually don't ask. People don't care if you show up with a crock pot full of meat.
Very true.
Yeah. usually adds, adds to everything. But I think being flexible is really important. And at the practice, uh, we like to teach everyone to manage the 5 musts, your hunger, your cravings, your feelings of deprivation, how to handle social situations and stress. And it takes a village, it takes a community to help. That's why I think it's really great to listen to other people's stories. Like your podcast is incredible. Listening to other people's stories, like I might be feeling a little bit down or a little bit blue someday, believe it or not, and I might listen to one of your podcasts. I think taking a walk and listening to podcasts like yours, just like gives me the courage to keep going, to hear other people's stories. I don't know. And not, you get the final say on what you eat, right? So I think it's just knowing people, it's not realistic to expect willpower to magically show up. So you have to get the right mindset, right? That this is yours. Your health is yours. You were born with health. It's yours. It's yours for the taking.
Yeah, I love that. That's great. Well, that gives us a lot to go back and unpack. You mentioned goals and goal setting for people, and really identifying somebody's why. When you're working with your clients, how deeply are you trying to get to a more like kind of core why with somebody? Like somebody might say like, I want to lose 20 pounds. Do you think of it as like peeling back the why onion of trying to get a little bit deeper? Like, well, why do you want to lose 20 pounds? Maybe it's
Yeah,
for a wedding, or like, okay, well, why is losing 20 pounds going to help you at this wedding? Like, what is going to be better for you? Like, do you ever try to like dive a little bit deeper to try to get to the more core kind of why that somebody has for whatever their fitness goals are?
absolutely. And there are, some people that's some people's goals is for a wedding. That's like a very popular thing what people might want to lose weight for. I myself have wanted to lose weight for a wedding. But then essentially you got to ask those questions. Most people want to like be not they want to feel good not just because of the wedding. They want to feel good. They want to have their brain fog disappear. They want to feel good all the time. Or maybe it's that they want to get rid of their migraine headaches or whatever it may be. And mine was, I wanted to lose weight because I wanted to be able to walk. I could hardly even walk. I was winded. We'd go on vacations, a nice vacation, and I'd have to sit and wait for my family to that would have to wait for me. So, and after a while, you start losing weight and you just want to walk. You want to get off the chair. And the all or nothing thinking comes up a lot, especially for exercise. For some of us, we're not exercise motivated uh, to exercise. Like it wasn't part of my everyday life for so long that I had all or nothing thinking on exercise for a long time. How can you help? Can you talk about that a little bit yourself too? I mean, how do you get people to uh, get out of that thinking?
Whose podcast is this anyway? You're asking me the
Oh,
questions. What's going on? No, I'm
yeah,
just kidding.
yeah.
Yeah, it's a really good question. I often will tell people as far as the exercise goes, it's kind of like you said. I don't want to even have somebody be thinking about exercise until they get to the state where you were in.
Yeah.
Like you wanted to walk eventually, where it was so hard for you to walk and you could hardly do it on vacation, and then all of a sudden like you're losing weight, you're feeling a little better. Well, great. Now try to stop you. And I think that's a good way to think about it. I think people, especially this time of year in January, they want to like do the whole thing right now. I want to lose 30 pounds as soon as possible without realizing the metabolic consequences of the way that most people lose weight. When people are thinking about weight loss as far as calories and exercise, they're typically thinking, I want to eat less and I want to move more. And the trick, the crappy part about that is it absolutely works. It works
Yeah.
temporarily, unfortunately, which is really enticing. And so somebody will start doing that. They will be using willpower, probably counting calories or focusing on the number of calories they're burning on a treadmill. And in the first week, if they're really diligent, they might lose 2 or 3 pounds. They might not be feeling great, but they'll lose 2 or 3 pounds. And that's enough to fill up that kind of tank of the willpower, right? The problem is you're you're making your body more efficient, which means it's burning less calories. You're literally making your metabolic rate slow down. This is my whole career of what I was doing at the gym that I was working at, was measuring people's metabolic rates. And sure enough, if people were doing diets or they were exercising a lot, their metabolic rates would be suppressed. They would not be burning as many calories as they would be before. So that weight loss you created starts to slow down. It starts to slow down. You start getting frustrated. You also have an increase in cravings. Your motivation wanes even during the week. You might be very motivated on a Monday. By Thursday, you might be, give me all the donuts and I'll start again on Monday. And people, like, they fail because you did the perfect thing to create a weight rebound. That's the best way to gain weight, is to go through that process, make your body burn less calories and make it so hungry and having cravings that you're just going to gain a ton of weight on the back end. But then January rolls around again and the person thinks, so when did I lose weight? Oh yeah, it was last January. I better try that again. But this time I'll have more willpower. And it's such a trap. It's such a trick. It's terrible to try to, like, hopefully most people can understand that and know that that's not the way to get to where they want to be.
Yeah, and that's why I think it's really important to build your defenses and know that you're not alone and that you can get support. Awareness really is everything. And prepping and self-advocacy, and community impulse control. I like the 1% rule, kind of like, no matter what, or have a list of non-negotiables. I've had done that before and put that on the fridge. No matter what, I'm going to eat this, or no matter what, I'm going to fill myself up with these foods versus something else. Promise yourself you can do that for at least one day. Anybody can do anything for one day.
Yeah.
But I love exercising now, and it was really hard in the beginning not to exercise. I just didn't want to do it, and now I just want to. So it feels good. And you know what? I think exercising after the meals are the most important times. And before, we were all programmed, to rest and digest. Grandma would say, "Oh, you need to sit a little while," but now it's like after a meal, all my numbers go down if I just get in there, and it doesn't even have to be a 30-minute walk. It could be 5 or 10 minutes. Step on the treadmill even. Yeah.
It's a really good point. I love that. I wanted you to talk about goal setting in particular. And I wanted to kind of start with the difference between a behavior goal and an outcome goal. So oftentimes I'll have people come to me and they'll say, my goal is to lose X number of pounds. I want to lose 50 pounds. I want to lose 30 pounds, whatever. That is an outcome. And that's an okay goal. But inevitably, the person is not in control of an outcome. An outcome is something that may or may not happen. You could do everything perfectly, and for whatever reason, your body may or may not lose 50 pounds the way you want it to. I often find too that people are enamored with the weight that they were in high school, and they think they want to be like 160 pounds the way the dude was in high school, when it's like, man, you're probably going to be looking great at 190, and you fixated on what you were as a sophomore in high school, and that's not the best. But again, that is an outcome goal. A behavior goal is something that is fully in your control. How do you help your people to understand the difference between the two, and whether or not they choose one or the other, have the right expectation for that?
Oh, that's really good. That's really good. I mean, we set the goals, we see or when they're working with me, I just, ask them, what can you do? What can you do to get this goal? Because I can't make them do it. They have to do the work. So we try to set SMART goals that they can reach themselves. And we talk about, thoughts and behaviors. They're just thoughts and behaviors, right? You can change your behavior, but you can't change your thoughts. So uh, they can pass by like clouds in the sky. I've always said that before. And like I said, willpower just doesn't magically show up. So, and people do think that it does, and it doesn't. So you have to be prepared for every situation when it comes your way. But it's usually I'll talk to them about, like, maybe making a list of 10 or 12 things that bring them joy. That's not food related. So whether it's putting a puzzle together, walking their dog, calling a friend, and try to implement those changes into their day. Like maybe make in the evening when they're doing something that they do every night, like for me, it's putting my coffee maker together. I think about what I'm going to do for my next day. Where am I going to put my movement in for the next day? Think about my 2 meals. What am I going to eat? Because so I don't do any snacking. So think about what I'm going to eat. So that's kind of like something you can do every evening. If you have a thing that you do consistently, and just think about it as your next day of putting those things in your day. You have to manually put them in your day, and every day looks different. So um, that's why it's good to assess the evening before what your next day is going to look like. Because I might have to put a 10-minute walk in at a different time that I would normally do, depending on your schedule. So think of your obligations for the day, and you have to manually put them in there, and not be too hard on yourself if you can't meet the whole goal, but try to at least get part of it in.
Yeah, that's really good advice. I like the idea of having a list of 10 different things. I know we've got an episode coming up with Dr. Kevin Gendreau. And the first time we talked about that. He's a doctor who's maintained a weight loss of 130 pounds and just feels
Wow.
amazing. And that was a big thing for him
Yeah, he's
is to just,
awesome.
I think he had a list of 50 things in a book, I want to say. And he would just like, whenever he got cravings, he would just flip open to a book, through the book and find a page. And whatever that thing was, he would try to go do that. And inevitably, it would take his mind away from the carbohydrate cravings and stuff that he would give in it, which is
You
mostly
know,
like processed foods, So I think that's a good tip.
and that gets rid of your decision fatigue. You
Exactly.
don't have to think about it. It's right there in front of it. And
Yep.
he's got a new book out, right, on Amazon?
Yeah, he does. Yeah, I
Yeah,
can't
I
remember the
have to
name of
get
it. I
it.
should know the name of it, but yeah, it looks really,
Yeah.
really good.
Yeah.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
he's great. Yeah, the decision fatigue. Like seriously, I show up when I am working, I wear the same shirt, I wear the same shorts. This is my work. I don't think of it as uniform. It just puts me in intention of this is what I'm dressing like, this is what I'm going to do today, and I don't deviate from that. And it's really a thing. I would say the decision fatigue of like what should I wear? What should I whatever? Like
Yeah.
take that away from yourself and just make things be really easy like that. I really like that. Also, when we're goal setting, I don't always do this with people, but I do like to kind of think of it as a framework that seems to work fairly well for most people. And that's the acronym SMART,
Yeah.
SMART, specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, I believe, and time bound. There's kind of the parameters. So I wanted to pick through these one by one. When we're making specific goals, and we're keeping in mind that for the most part, I would really like people to make behavioral goals, not necessarily outcome goals, because again, control versus not control, you're in control
Right.
of behaviors. How specific do you like to get with somebody as far as their goals? Again, a behavior goal might be you have 2 meals that you really focus on protein, or you only have one time of day that you snack, or you're going to the gym twice a week, or whatever you decide on. Why do you think it's important to be specific with your goal?
Well, because everybody's different, for one. They could depend on their situation, or if they have any metabolic things happening right now, or any hormonal imbalances going on. Everybody's, different. Uh, I don't know. I think it's really good because with every appointment, before we end appointments, we ask them what goal can they attain until we talk again. And we talk about what they can do and what they want to do, versus what they can do. And then we talk about it the next appointment. How did they reach their goal? Um, what led them to make the better choices? How, did they go off track? How can we put a block in there so they don't go off track the next time? Um, it's it's all individual. Everybody's different.
Yeah, good answer. I like that. If we
Yeah.
go to the M, we're talking about measurable. Again, I
Yeah.
think this applies to most goals. Some are a little bit harder, but as far as like tracking things, what kinds of tools do you like to track as far as the measurability outside of things like the quantity? Like again, you say I want you to go to the gym twice in a week. That's measurable in just the quantity of times. But are there other tools that you like to measure progress and success with people?
Oh, absolutely. Of course, we loved and I love the CGM because it's been a life changer for me. So like people share their CGMs with me daily, and they write in their, like, if they see a spike on it, they know that food's not good for them, they'll write in their Freestyle Libra or their Dexcom Stello, and we do offer those devices. You can get them through the Dr. Tro app, from the Towards Health app. You can get yourself a CGM. Some of them, sell those over the counter now, so you don't need a prescription for those. But they write in there even like, okay, hey, I had a slice of pizza, I went off track. So now we know that bump and that spike in there was from something that they ate, or maybe they went to the gym or maybe they ran a marathon or whatever it may be. And you can see the spike and the stress on your body and whether it comes back down. And a keto mojo, a lot of people like to test their ketones, because if you're burning ketones, you're getting into your fat stores, right? So that's a good tool as well. And then a lot of people like to use fasting, and we have a fasting challenge in February with Vic and myself, and that people can register for. That are in the app as well. That's fun, and make it fun. We like to start out with 3 meals a day if you need it, and then when you are ready, push your eating window back slowly until you get to 2 tasty meals a day and no snacking. And if you're snacking in between, it's most likely because you haven't eaten enough protein and fat to satiate you. So the next time you eat, make sure you eat more protein. And I like to keep a journal. Some people will send me their, hey, this is my goal for the day. This is what I'm doing. I'm eating these 2 meals at these 2 times, and I'm working out 30 minutes. I'm rowing, or I'm walking, or I'm doing some resistance training. And then sometimes they might text me in the evening and say, hey, I met all my goals, and we'll like do a happy dance, You made all your goals today. So, and then keeping a journal is great because you can go back, like you were saying earlier, you can go back and look. And that's what I did before, and I felt good. And I want to eat that same thing again. We're creatures of habits. If we know we do well with a certain meal, then we might eat it over and over again on repeat, and just have 10 or 12 meals on repeat that make us feel good.
Yeah. That's a really good point. I like that.
Yeah.
Speaking of measurability and tools, you also mentioned fasting, and you mentioned this with Maggie as well. I can't remember. There's an app that you can track
Oh,
the time that you've been fasting,
yeah.
right?
The
What
Zero
was
app, it's
Zero?
fun.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, it's really fun. Just because maybe you set your goal for 18 hours or 24 hours, whatever. I like to use it for my 24-hour fast, or for extended fasting, anything over 24 hours. But you look at your phone, and like you're like, oh wow, I'm 18 hours in. I'm really hungry, but you know what? I think I'll just go ahead and just, drink some bone broth or do an electrolyte mix and see if I can get to my goal. It's
yeah.
pretty cool. I like using it.
Does it kind of gamify things a little bit? Like, for example, like I have
Yeah.
a 400 and something day streak on Duolingo, and
Yeah.
there might be days I do not want to practice Duolingo, but I will do it absolutely because I want that streak to continue. Does that kind of help with the fasting as well for being
Yeah,
motivated, like
it
when it's like
does. Kind of
gamified?
like your smart watch. You want to hit your rings every day.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. That's great. As far as tools and measuring go, how much do you enjoy or not enjoy using a scale to measure weight?
Well, a scale is just a metal box. So I hate for it doesn't define us in any way, but it's a good awareness, accountability tool. Some people like to step on it once a week. Some people like to step on it once a month. It's up to the person, really. And, some people just don't like to step on it at all. But I think it's good to step on it at least once a month, just to see where you're headed, what direction you're headed.
Yeah,
Um,
I definitely notice with my clients, some people can step on a scale and be very objective about it. Like, oh, this is my gravity on planet Earth today. Great. And other people will take it really, really personal if their body just decides it's 2 pounds heavier today than it was yesterday. And that can send them off the rails. So I think knowing who you are as a person, understanding like what frequency is healthy for me to step on a scale and what frequency is starting to push it a little bit and make me, get off the rails a little
Yeah,
bit.
and all these devices and all these apps and stuff are just tools to keep you accountable for yourself. And, I think accountability is really important. Um, I know it is for me. Like if I've had a couple times in my life where I've went out of remission, um, and my husband always knows. He's like, "Hey, you're not wearing your CGM. What's going on?"
Yeah.
Or, I haven't noticed you walking this week. Is there something bothering you? What, can we talk about it? So it's good to have community support, and so that we can all be accountable and there's no guilt or shame in it. It's just, to keep you going.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a great point. If we go to the A in the acronym, that is achievable. This to me is probably the most important one. And I think people overestimate what they think they're going to be able to do consistently. And they set goals that are way too high
Right.
and way unmotivating. Yeah. So I'll give you an example. I'm working with a woman who is trying to get in a better state of health. She's got 4 kids now and wants to be healthy and happy and live a great life with them. And she's very busy. Her husband also works a full time job. She works a full time job, and it just inevitably comes to the end of the day. And the easiest thing to do for food is to order out, which is not contributing to her goals, and she wants to address it. And we're talking about like, what can we do? How can we get motivated? What kind of meal plan she should be on? And we're trying to like, I'm trying to manage the expectations of what is achievable and ramp it down as much as possible. So we both landed on, a slow cooker meal could be really easy. You could
Yeah.
throw chicken and salsa and
Roast.
some seasoning in a slow cooker in the morning. That takes a few minutes. It's not much. And at the end, you have a really versatile protein that you can mix into a lot of things. You can do a lot of different things with that.
Absolutely.
And so, but also saying like, but I don't want you to think that you're going to do that every single night. So we're trying to step it down and step it down. And today we set a goal of like sometime this weekend, find one meal that you can do that with, whatever it is. Like lately, I've been doing chuck roasts cooked in broth, like literally just a cheap, inexpensive, delicious chuck roast, a little bit of seasoning, a cup of broth, cook it for like 12 hours. It shreds up. It's absolutely delicious. You can eat it like I do,
Yeah.
carnivore style, and just do whatever. But again, you never get the ball rolling unless you take one little tiny step. As they say, the journey of a thousand miles starts with a single step. So on achievability,
Right.
how do you help people realize that yes, we want a lifestyle change and we look at you and all the things that you accomplished, but you didn't start out by doing all the things. You took one little step, which led to the next one.
Yes.
Can you talk about how you help your clients make achievable goals?
Well, we just set them together what they can do, and maybe maybe they want to fast for 24 hours, but you don't just start out fast in a 24-hour fast. We start out small and tiny steps. So we'll go 10 hours, and then we'll go 11. It might be a week at a time until they get to 16 hours, or maybe a half an hour, each week they're going to get to that goal. Or, with the meals, it might be a while before they get down to the 2 meals. But like you said, it's hard for some people to just say, hey, I'm going to prep all my meals for the whole week, every week on Sunday. So starting out small with 1 or 2 meals is really good. I like to make a whole bunch of ground beef because I can make it all kinds of ways. I might put it with some soft boiled eggs. I might put some taco seasoning on it and put some guacamole and sour cream on it. I might eat an avocado with it too. There's all kinds of things you can do with ground beef. You could put a pork roast in and shred it and have, pulled pork, which is one of the things I like to bring anywhere with me. And you could have some chicken rings ready to put in your air fryer. I love having an air fryer it does everything so well, and easy and fast.
Yeah.
But prepping up meals is really, really important to protect yourself from yourself, and cleaning out your cabinets and getting all the crap out of your house, out of your life.
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally. Yeah, that's great. I think having those small goals, I heard once like make a goal that is like laughably easy. Just
Yes.
like almost like
Yeah.
funny or like, well, yeah, I could do that. Just don't try to overextend yourself. Start there. You hear the stories all the time of the person that sets a goal of I'm gonna swipe my card at the gym. I'm not even gonna walk in to the main part of the gym. I'm gonna swipe my card twice a week. And they might
Hmm.
just walk right in and walk out on their way home from work, having done nothing. But eventually, if you keep going, maybe one day you'll be like, oh, well, I've got 10 minutes. Maybe I'll go walk for a little while. And then maybe that turns into 15 minutes. And maybe that turns into strength training, hire a trainer. But it started with a
Right.
tiny, tiny little step. And so I think the achievability needs to be much, 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 much lower, so that people can start getting little wins that then lead to bigger wins. So I think you have a lot of like really good tips around that. So that was good. I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think a really good one too is if you're not really motivated to work out and you're very sedentary at your desk. And I saw this the other day, and I don't know what study it is, but it looked like there was a study that came out that said if you work an 8-hour shift and you just do 10 squats per hour for 8 hours, that's like equivalent to a 30-minute walk.
Great.
I mean, just, I mean, that's something easy you can do. And if you can't do 10 squats, maybe you can do 5. So
Yeah.
you've done 5, right?
Yeah.
Eventually
Perfect.
you get to 10.
Yep. No, that's perfect. I really like that. The RN Smart is relevant. I think, again, the biggest thing on this one is people make the goals that they think they want to be a certain weight, but really they want to change their body composition or whatever. So how do you help people reframe things they think they want for things that you can help them identify that they actually want?
Oh gosh. Can you say that again?
Yeah, just basically like sometimes we create goals and we think we want to weigh a certain amount, but it's not really weighing that amount is not really relevant to what they think they want to do. Like maybe they think they want to lose weight, but really they want to burn fat or have better energy or
Yeah.
something. How you're so good at the mental coaching and helping people have the right mindset. How do you help people reframe some goals and help make them more relevant to what is actually going to help improve their life as pertaining to their why that was identified earlier?
Well, I think a lot of times it's when they start seeing the non-scale victories that maybe they're the bigger goal, the bigger picture that's they haven't hit that yet, but they're feeling like their pants getting looser, or they could wear a dress they couldn't wear before, or they could walk a little bit further than they did the last time. Um, that gives them the I don't know. I'm looking for a word I can't find. It gives them hope, hope that everything's going to be okay and they're going to meet their goals. And some people lose weight really slow, but if they're sticking to the plan, like I said, the metabolic changes are happening on the inside that they can't see. So to be patient and know that being consistent is very important, whether you meet your whole goal for the day or just half your goal for the day, try to meet some of it somewhere, even if it's 1%.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I really like that. The T in SMART is time bound. So I've got a client who trains for an Ironman. She does the same one every single year. That is a set date. She does not control when that happens, and so she's got a very specific plan. It starts on a specific date. It ends on a specific date because that race is on a specific date, and she can't move mountains and move the day
Yeah.
of this race. So she has to be you know working towards a goal that's going to happen on one specific day. But like you said in the beginning, I think it's really important to identify that, as we say, yeah, we maybe have a race, a 5K, a wedding, an event, something that is on a certain day. Also, it's that reframing that's so important. Like you said earlier, that like this is a lifestyle. This is something I'm going to be doing for the rest of my life. It's not about getting to a certain body fat percentage by October. It's by me doing the controllable steps along the way and understanding that this is repaying me back by me feeling better as I go. And it doesn't necessarily need to be like, oh, I stop on this day, or I hear all the time, like, oh, I'm going to do this and then I'm going to go back to eating normal foods. Normal foods got you into the spot to begin with. That
Right.
was the whole problem to begin with. You know what I mean?
Yeah, eat foods that are going to make you feel good and move you towards your goals. And if you mess up, get right back on. Don't wait. Don't wait because we all mess up. We're all human. We can't be 100% of the time perfect because you just can't be perfect 100% of the time. But I do know that you can nourish your body with protein and fat and get through any cravings that should come. I mean, if you're not, and know what true hunger is too. If you're thinking obsessively about that donut or that cookie, that's not true hunger. So that's you dreaming about a cookie. But if you're like really like, if you could sit down and eat some sardines or a dried chicken breast, you're hungry.
Totally.
Yeah.
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 On that note, I'm going to have another client story here, but this is a tricky one that it catches most people off guard, and it's that satiety feeling versus fullness, and it's the proteins and fats and understanding how that drives hunger or doesn't drive hunger. And I see this all the time, and I have to point this out to people because they think they're doing the very best thing. So my client another client that I have is really trying very diligently to eat healthy. So he tells me that, like, man, I went to an awesome restaurant. It was great. I got this great salad. It's a place that doesn't have seed oil. So he was able to use the olive oil, and it was one of the tastiest salads he's had in a long time. And of course, the restaurant, is not focused on being protein forward. That's the most expensive food for them. So it's not like they're putting tons of whatever protein I had. I think he had chicken. And so he ate that meal, and it was like an hour and a half, 2 hours later, he's kicking himself because he's starting to snack, and he's snacking on the crap that he knows he's trying to not snack on. And he's like,
Yeah.
I did it again. I can't believe, like, I know I had this goal and whatever, and I'm trying to do good, and I get to this point in my day, and I'm not doing it. I don't know what's going on. And I always say, okay, wait, go back to that meal. Go back to the meal that you had. Where was the protein and fat? Chances are you think you're eating healthy. You're filling
Yeah.
yourself up with a ton of fiber, which gives you fullness. And you think, like, wow, I'm going to stop. If I had that salad, I would eat it. And I wouldn't eat it because I'm carnivore. But if I were to eat
Yeah.
it, it would fill up my stomach to the point that I wouldn't want to eat. But I would be devastatingly hungry a few hours later. And I wouldn't want another salad at that point. I would want candy and chips and whatever kind of
Yeah.
crap I could dig out. And a lot of people don't realize that sometimes what you think is the healthy meal is causing the bounce back and the cravings for other stuff. So can you reiterate the importance of, like, really truly getting fully satiated on fats and proteins?
Yeah, it's really important because we have to know what drives us to eat, you know? And those things like that that keep us, those foods that keep us hungry later are not the right ones to fill us up with. You might need to add more fat to your meal actually, and we'll tell you to eat more. It's, restricting's not going to help you in any way. You need to eat more of the healthy foods, the whole foods, to keep you full and satiated. Um, you know, Insulin is a fat storage hormone, and if you're making your insulin go up, you're just going to be hungry all the time. You're always going to be burning that instead of getting into your fat stores. So, um,
Yeah, that's a really good point. I
didn't
love
really answer that question the way I wanted to.
no, that's great. I love the way that Dr. Ben Bickman always reiterates the statement that always seems true. Hunger always wins. Hunger
It always does. Yeah.
always wins. Yes, it does. If
Yeah.
you're hungry, I don't care what your willpower was, it's going to break down. You might be able to handle it on January 1st or the first Monday in January when you start your diet, but it's going to break down. Hunger always wins. The converse, though, is also true, that, like, true satiety is so frustrating for me, because, like, I'll be like 3 bites left in a steak and I'm almost done, and I can't even bring it to my mouth anymore. When I'm satiated, I'm done. And it
Yeah,
sucks because I either have to feed the dog or get out a container and have more dishes to watch and save it for
I,
tomorrow. But it's so true that, like, hunger will always win, but satiety will stop you from eating. You cannot eat one more bite when you're satiated.
I know. And if it's crap food, you can just keep going and keep going.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. If anybody has had a tortilla chip in their life, they understand that you don't eat just one tortilla chip. You're going to reach the bottom of the bag before you know it. And the
Yeah,
cool part about
absolutely.
satiety is kind of what you mentioned before. The reason why we don't start with fasting is because it's going to be very difficult for people who are having that up and down blood sugar they're describing, or having all the
Yeah.
insulin, but being very satiated. It's just this whole different thing. And I think you and I both kind of associate more with, like, sugar addiction, food addiction, and we're better being abstainers. But, like, in your own personal journey, what was it like to feel what people describe as food freedom? You're not that hungry. You don't really care about food or snacks in the same way, because you're good. Like, you feel
You
fine.
just don't need it. I just don't want it. I don't know. The food noise just goes away. It's magical. I
No,
challenge anyone to try to, to eat a carnivore lifestyle if they can for 30 days just to see what happens, see how you feel. Um, I don't know. It's healed my body, and I was able to eliminate over 20 medications and an insulin pump eating this way. So I really believe in it. I believe in it a lot.
yeah,
And and the most powerful way to change uh your brain chemistry is through food.
yeah,
Because that's
exactly.
where the brain chemicals come from.
Yeah.
So,
People are using so much willpower already in their day-to-day lives with their work and their family and everything else. And I think just having that food freedom is so important. And I didn't even think about this when we started the episode, but today, January 1st, is the first day of World Carnivore Month. So good timing.
oh,
Um,
hey, really, really good timing.
there
Yeah.
you go. Yeah. And
And I
so
think
go ahead.
abstinence really kind of gives you the clarity to do the work,
Yeah.
to do the work you need to heal.
Yep. I agree.
So,
Yeah,
yeah.
I agree. When somebody is transitioning to wherever they land, as far as like if somebody wants to do a strict carnivore diet for January, or even if they just want to push harder into like animal-based foods and like really make that their focus, I don't get too nitpicky about where people call carnivore. I like the definition of a carnivore in nature eats about 75% or more of their calories from animal products, and that way we don't get too nitpicky about who's not a carnivore because they had
Yeah.
spices or an avocado or all that ridiculousness. I do
Yeah.
recommend I do recommend that most people really should have a time, maybe 30 days, 90 days, whatever it is, where they are more strict on carnivore just to see what the benefits are and just to see what plant foods are causing them harm that they didn't really think of. But yeah, do you have any tips and tricks on somebody who wanted to push towards a carnivore diet as far as like practical stuff, making things easy? You mentioned meal prep. Like, are there any things that you have found that make the carnivore diet very easy for you to be adjacent to at the very least?
Well, I started out, low carb, high fat, and then I transitioned into carnivore, and that's where the real healing began. And I do still have an occasional avocado and stuff like that, and I do have some cheese every now and then. Um, I'm not real picky like you were saying, but we'll just make two meats. We'll have the grill. We grill almost every night. You can put a steak on there. You can put a hamburger patty on there. You can put salmon. We'll have two meats, and then if I want a side, it's going to be probably eggs, either scrambled over easy, omelet. They taste different every way. Eggs are so versatile. So we might have a steak and a salmon and an egg as our vegetable. We call our eggs our vegetables.
Love it.
Uh, but and sometimes maybe there's not a lot of fat in the meat that we're, and I might fat fortify, but I won't like fat load. So like I might put a pat of butter on there to, over the meat. Or that's where I might eat an avocado because it's a good fat. Or maybe I'm uh putting a piece of tilapia in a pan with some bacon grease, you know. We love fish too, so I think it's really important to get some fish in there. And sometimes it's just like eggs and maybe sardines and a couple pieces of bacon or something.
Yep.
It's really easy. I mean,
It's
we're
so
done.
easy.
We're cooked and our meal's done, and there's only a couple plates left for dishes. It's like incredibly easy.
Yeah. I just listened to a podcast with Nina Teichels, and the host was asking her, like, do you do organ meats? How do you think about grass fed, grass finished? And, how do you do your meal prep? How do you make sure you get all the nutrients you need? And her answer was probably about as honest as most of us could be if we were to answer that honestly, too. It's like, she was like, well, I just, like, I'd like to keep it simple. I don't really overthink it. And it's
Yeah,
really easy. Maybe I'm just lazy. Like, that is a perfect way to
that
describe it.
is.
Like when you're
It
eating
is.
this way, it is so stinking easy. Again, a
It,
crock pot, an air fryer, grilling every night, or grilling a brisket or chuck roast or tri-tips. They're not
yeah.
expensive. You can do them in bulk. They'll be good all week. We never throw away food around here. It's
We,
awesome. It's so easy.
we don't either. Maybe it's pork steaks, and I don't just buy two. I'll buy like 8 or 10, and then we have extra, you
Yep.
know?
Yep. Wait till things go on sale. Invest in a vacuum sealer if you want. That has saved us
Yeah.
thousands and thousands of dollars. Just a simple like vacuum sealer. Yeah, there's so many tips and tricks that I think we've talked about in this episode. I think will really really help people. Tell us about the program that is happening. You kind of mentioned it earlier in the episode. Obviously, you're working with Dr. Tro and the Toward
Oh, yeah.
program.
It's
But
so
yeah,
great.
yeah. Tell us about this. It sounds like it's a challenge that you're running.
Yeah, so we have a challenge, two things going on actually in January, Intro to Low Carb Challenge. That's with Brian and Dr. Laura, and they kind of like go back to the basics. So it's for anyone starting out, or it's for anyone that's been doing it for a while and they just want to get back to the basics. I like listening in too, but you register for free as long as you're a member in the Towards Health app. So go online and download the app. And then you can register actually for in January for we're having a Thrive in 25 challenge, community challenge, and everybody's going to be sharing their data, whether it's their Keto Mojo ketones or their CGM readings, or maybe their Zero app and how many hours they fasted, or maybe it's just that they went to the gym every day and they're sharing a sweaty gym picture or whatever it may be. But anybody that posts all those consistently through the month will be entered into for a free CGM, and there'll be some winners for free CGMs.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
fantastic. That's great. And we mentioned this as being so important as well, the community aspect of things. Do you find that when people are in community, they get an increase in like ownership of trying to help some of the other people that are in the group?
Absolutely. I love the community app on Towards Health because um, people help each other. I mean, and they're accountable to each other there. And we even have like a section where in the app where if you're needing like help, maybe you're needing to talk off the ledge, somebody to talk you off the ledge because you don't want to eat that donut that somebody brought in to work, and you can put a shout out there, and there are people that are in our community are going to answer that person and let them know what they've done before. So everybody helps each other. It's pretty great. It's kind of like Facebook for the community.
That sounds
Yeah.
wonderful.
Everybody's helping each other. I love it.
Yeah, that's great. I think the first time we talked, you were not working with Tro, and now you are. What has been your experience working with them?
Oh my gosh. It's phenomenal. Working with Brian and Vic and Dr. Laura and Tro and Amy. It's like I don't know. We all have the same vision. So it's great. And they have offer so many programs. They offer primary care if you need it. They offer weight loss programs. They offer health coaching on the app, and all the devices like CGMs and stuff you can order right through the app. So it's pretty great. There's so much information in the Towards Health app. So I encourage everybody. I think it's there's a free portion right now if you sign up.
That's
And then there's
awesome.
a premium. There's a premium that you can get access to everything. And there's also CGM courses. Dr. Laura made some CGM courses in the app, which are fantastic. If you've never worn a CGM before, it tells you just about anything you need to know about wearing one.
It's fantastic. She's awesome. She's so great.
Yeah.
Yeah. So again, one of the main themes that I wanted to bring out is that feeling of hope and people feeling like change is really difficult. They're probably going to want to bite off more than they can chew in the beginning and need to realize that they need to keep their goals really small. But the small changes lead to really great things. And I just look at you and the journey that you've gone through. Could you have ever imagined a universe where you would be coaching people, helping people, appearing on podcasts, like all of this stuff that you get to do now that just contributes to the richness of your life and feeling like you're contributing, and now you get to play with your new grandkid, and like I don't know, I just
It's a miracle. I
how
mean,
great does it
my
feel?
daughter and got married in Montana last year, and we were in the mountains in Glacier Park, Montana, hiking all day long. I would have never dreamed I'd be hiking up a mountain. I could almost cry about it. Like I hiked up a mountain. I would have never dreamed it. And we hiked every day, and it was incredible. Yeah.
Wow,
So eat real food. You can change your life.
I love that. Well, you have hiked a mountain literally on that trip, and you have hiked a mountain proverbially with your life. And either way, that started with a step. It started with one step that led to another, whether it was the physical mountain or the mountain that you've climbed in your
Yeah.
life. So this has been wonderful. It's been so great to catch up with you. You're such a bright light, and so inspiring and optimistic and wonderful. And I'm so glad that I have been able to meet you in person. You're somebody that I really love and respect. And I'm so grateful that you took time out of your busy day to do this and provide this for people. So for now, where would you like people to go to find you and connect with you and your work to you?
Well, www.drtro spelled out.com. And he even offers health coaching there. So you can find me there. And if you're curious, I am on all the social medias. So you can find me on Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter.
Perfect.
Yeah. Or
The
X.
social butterfly is on all of the
Yeah.
socials. I can confirm that.
Yeah. Thanks
That's
for
awesome.
having me, though. And Merry
Absolutely.
Christmas to you and Bethany.
Merry Christmas to you and your family as well. It was such an honor to host you. Like I said, I think this is going to be a really great episode that people can use, regardless of whether they're starting their journey on January 1st or whether they're trying to invigorate themselves any part of the year. So again, Tia, thank you so very much for taking the time to be on our show today. And thank you for all the practical tips and tricks. It's been really great. And yeah, thank you so very much for doing this. We really appreciate you.
Thanks.
And this has been another episode of Boundless Body Radio.